If Terence Crawford moves up to fight Canelo, it's going to be a worse fight than fucking Charlo running around Canelo by murder against Crawford. That shit wouldn't happen. They have weight classes for a reason.
Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford are set for a clash around the Cinco de Mayo weekend. And one of the biggest challenges Crawford has to face aside his Mexican opponent is the overwhelming voice of his naysayers. Crawford isn't strange to being doubted, but more than ever before boxing professionals are, pleading with him not to risk his undefeated record by going into a fight that would only end up in a loss for him.
Canelo, they want to see it.
Crawford cares about his life, and with that fight, what do that fight do for Canelo? Fighting Crawford, and Crawford beats Canelo. What do that do for Canelo?
Roy Jones, being one of the most dominant boxers of his era, remains invested in the careers of the new generation of boxing stars. Among them, Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez stand out as two of today's best pound-for-pound fighters. The idea of a potential matchup between the two has captured the imagination of boxing fans worldwide.
There are so many other fights to make that's realistic and makes sense and less life risking on top of the risk that we risk stepping in there with guys our weight.
Terence Crawford, a 4-division world champion, has expressed his interest in facing Canelo, the reigning super middleweight king. However, the weight disparity between the two poses a significant challenge for the American fighter.
Boot time to take over and start beating the guys around him. Prove that he's the best of that group. Bud is in a group above him. Bud don't need to come back down to 47 to meet him. That's crazy. Wow.
In an interview with Mill City Boxing, Jones Jr. shared his perspective on this hypothetical clash while praising Crawford's talent and skills. The legendary boxer leaned toward Canelo as the favorite. "I like Terence, but I'm going to lean towards Canelo with his size early. But if he lets Terence get into the fight, Terence is going to be a problem. If Terence can deal with the size, he will beat him." The role of striking power. Jones Jr. emphasized the importance of Canelo's punching power as a decisive factor in the fight.
Look to try to make history and get out. Get his big bank and get out. His big bank is who? Canelo. He willing to take that gamble.
That's what I'm saying. We don't know until we see Terence get hit, because we haven't seen him get hit with that power, Jones Jr. said. That's the deciding factor. If you can change Bud's fight plan, you've got a chance of beating him. But if you can't hurt him, you can't change his fight plan, and you've got problems. This analysis underscores Crawford's need to neutralize Canelo's renowned power. If Crawford can impose his technical boxing skills and avoid Canelo's devastating punches, he could stand a chance of pulling off a historic upset, while the potential fight between Canelo and Crawford remains a dream scenario for fans. Canelo Alvarez is currently focused on preparing for his next bout.
If he beats him, he may go fight Benavidez next. If he don't beat him, he say, "Okay, I took it as high as I could go. I'm done."
That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy if he gets the win.
International Boxing Federation interim champion William Skull has been mentioned as a possible opponent. This wasn't always the case for Roy Jones Jr., though the Hall of Fame fighter and current promoter trainer and respected analyst Roy Jones Jr. had earlier shared scenarios in which he sees both Terence Crawford and David Benavidez beating Alvarez before going against his former prediction. He began with David Benavidez, saying it's a tough fight to call because Benavidez throws a lot of punches. Sometimes power can intervene and make that a different situation, Jones said in an interview with BoxingScene.com.
Big for Crawford, I'm not sure about that because Crawford does have punching power and shock, but I think Canelo's a little big. He showed tonight that he's pretty big, so I probably would rather see.
The problem is Canelo willing to take the risk? I don't really think he will right now, because I don't think he feels like he has a reason to if he can't hurt Benavidez early in the first 3 or 4 rounds. I don't see him winning that fight. The 2-time 168-pound titlist Benavidez has been pounding the table for a crack at Alvarez over the last 2 years. Formerly recognized as the best welterweight in the world, Crawford is open to moving up 2 weight classes for the chance at clashing with a Mexican star. Alvarez, meanwhile, maintains that a win against Crawford would do little for his legacy, even though many are giving Crawford a real chance to score the win.
Charlo fight Crawford first, and then see how that goes. If he does good against Charlo, with the weight, then let's see him come up and fight Canelo. Yes, but not right now.
If anybody can do it and pull it off, it's Crawford, so you can't tell him no, said Jones. I was the kind of guy that if someone said they were better than me, and if I can get close to your weight, here I come, I gave John Ruiz 33 pounds when I won the heavyweight title in 2003. I didn't care. I wanted to prove that I was pound for pound, found the best, and to do something historic that had never been done. That's probably how Bud feels right now. He wants to do something historic to solidify his legacy in boxing. Who doesn't want to see the pound for pound best from yesterday fight the pound for pound best from today? Who wouldn't want to see that fight? It's a mega fight if he puts the muscle and weight on. How can you doubt him? One thing that's for sure is that he's going to go out there and fight, and not just collect a paycheck. He's going to go out there and try to win the fight, because that's who Bud is. If he carries the weight, it'll be a good fight. He can box just like Floyd Mayweather, and he can also fight. He hits and doesn't get hit. If he can take the punch at that weight, he'll probably win the fight.
I want to see Crawford come up with some weight classes and show he can be dominant at 54. You understand me?
That fight will go, Crawford and
Crawford won a pound best fight.
Jones, who fluctuated in weight during the latter half of his career as a 4-division title holder, said Alvarez should continue his career moving forward at super middleweight. It's definitely best that Alvarez stays at 168. I didn't understand why he went to 175 to fight Dmitry Bivol anyway, said Jones. He had already beaten Sergey Kovalev, who was at the end of his career. Bivol was in the middle of his. They are two different animals. He got the crusher at the right time. Go back down and dominate where you are at. Don't try to fight another one, because lightning ain't going to strike twice. Also, former 2-weight world champion Andre Ward has voiced his opinion on the potential super fight between Saul Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford.
I can bet the house on is Bud, because me and him, we so much alike in our mentality. Like soon as I see this dude.
Bud has been targeting Canelo ever since. He put in a career-defining performance last year against welterweight rival Errol Spence Jr. Although the Mexican originally dismissed the fight, he recently admitted he would be prepared to defend his super middleweight titles against the naturally smaller man if the money was right. Speaking on the All the Smoke podcast, Ward, who retired with a perfect record of 32 wins from 32 fights, named the 2 matchups he wants to see most in boxing. I want to see Canelo fighting Terence Crawford or David Benavidez. You got 2 options. You can go somebody in your weight class, or you can try and pick on the smaller guy, Terence Crawford.
We so much alike in our mentality. Like soon as I see this dude, he come in the room or I come in the room, we start arguing about basketball.
On the potential Crawford-Canelo clash, his money would be on the man who last fought at 3 weight classes lower. I'm not betting against Terence right now against anybody. Not doing it. Talking about the most skilled fighters in the game today, Ward says Crawford is someone you can bet your house on. Somebody I can bet the house on is Bud. Me and him are so much alike in our mentality. He's skillful, yes, but his heart and mind are different. There's not a lot of guys like that out there currently. There's a lot of guys that talk it, but until you get in that real fight, I'm not saying a guy you should beat. I'm saying a guy that is a 50-by-50 matchup. Then we don't really know what you have.
Wrestling, anything, bro. Like, man, you can't, man, you looking small. What you mean I'm looking small? You looking small. Like, it's just that, like, you gotta really hurt that dude.
He's different. He's a dog. That's the stuff that gets me out of my seat. It means that when you need to be that guy, you can be that guy. A fighter who famously refers to Terence Crawford as his big brother. Shocker, Stevenson also believes Terence Crawford would beat Canelo Alvarez if they ever fought, despite conceding a 14 pounds weight disadvantage to the Mexican superstar. Or unlike Charlo, Canelo insists he has no interest in securing a fight with Crawford due to the size factor. However, Stevenson doesn't think it would be a problem for the pound king. The former 2 world champion affirms that skills win fights, not size, and believes Bud has the winning formula with his southpaw stance, excellent movement, and solid fundamentals to cause Canelo a real headache.
like I said, I've been saying this. I don't think size win fights. I think skills do. So yeah, I think like being a southpaw with good movement and sharp boxing, it'd be hard for Canelo with that high guard to walk him down and load up on them big hooks. I think Bud would be Canelo.
When speaking about Crawford's next steps to IFL TV, Stevenson said Terence Crawford is running things right now. As for who he should face next, I would love to see him go up against Charlo, although Charlo is already lined up against Canelo. I genuinely believe Crawford could beat Canelo. Being a southpaw with good movement and solid boxing, it would be tough for Canelo to walk Crawford down and load up on his powerful hooks. I wish Charlo wasn't fighting against Canelo, but it is what it is. I think Bud could beat Canelo. I would like to see it just because I know, I don't think size wins fights. I think skills do.
Who knows? That smile's telling me something else, bro. I think it might be on the line, no? I'm just saying, man. We can't say it's not gonna happen. We can't say that it is.
Say that it is. Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford is one of the biggest boxing fights that could be made right now. And with Saudi Arabia's involvement with the sport, it seems more possible than ever. Trainer Robert Garcia spoke about Canelo having an advantage over Crawford and also touched on Crawford's situation and clarified that if he does not get a fight against Canelo Alvarez, soon the Omaha boxer will surely opt to retire.
Because the way Crawford is doing it is because he knows it's the biggest payday in his life, and he'll never, maybe what he could get against Canelo, he's never made in all his fights combined.
Crawford is a smart man. He's already achieved everything he wanted, Garcia said in an interview with Fight Hype. He already did a lot. He doesn't need to challenge himself. He doesn't have to prove anything to anyone. I've talked to him personally, and my feeling is that he wants that big fight against Canelo. And if he doesn't get it, he might never fight again, Garcia said. There are many options for Crawford in the junior middleweight category. Should he decide to challenge the current champions, the most attractive is the World Boxing Council and World Boxing Organization champion Sebastian Fonder. He could also challenge International Boxing Federation champion Bakram Muraz-Alev. Other opponents who could make the list are Jal Charlo, Virgil Ortiz Jr., Siri Bahacek, and Xander Zass.
So of course, why would he call up Benavidez when he's calling out Canelo knowing that he's going to make double the money?
Because he wants to fight at 68, that's why.
So that's why, Eddie.
However, for Robert Garcia, Crawford no longer needs to look for another fight, as because of his outstanding career and unbeaten record, he has nothing left to prove. He already achieved it. I don't see him fighting just to please the fans who tell him he needs to fight this or that one, Garcia explained. Garcia believes that if it were about money, Crawford would have no need to fight again, as he has taken care of his fortune and has investments to back him up. His only reason to return to the ring would be to face Canelo and finish his career on a high. He's going to go out there and look for the big fight, enjoy his life, man. He's a very smart man. He's invested his money. He doesn't need to fight one more time. But he's still looking for that big fight against Canelo. And if he gets it, he'll take it. But other than that, he might never fight again, added the trainer.
Oh, why? He wants to make the biggest fucking payday.
Does he have a chance in the fight?
Everybody has a chance, but I think he'll put up some good rounds. I think he loses to Canelo, but he'll put up good rounds. Better than Charlo did.
If the fight takes place against the Guadalajara boxer, Garcia believes that Crawford can compete with Canelo for several rounds. Maybe not enough to beat him, but enough to earn his respect and that of the public. Look, I think Crawford could give good rounds. I think the first 6-8 rounds would be very competitive. Crawford has skills. Crawford is very strong. He has great speed and good power to earn Canelo's respect and show him respect. But eventually, I think Canelo is too big, too strong. But for those 6 rounds, I think it would be a very entertaining fight, Garcia concluded.
Crawford, Canelo.
He'll put up some good rounds. He'll fight. He'll probably get stopped when he get knocked out. But he'll put up some good rounds. Yeah, but he'll.
The plans for a fight between Saul Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford seem to remain near intention, because there is an obstacle bigger than agreeing on a multi-million-dollar purse, in which Canelo might not be flexible, even if Turkey Alec offers him the best pay of his career. But former WBO and WBC light welterweight champion Tim Bradley doesn't believe either of the two can derail the Bud train. Instead, he feels Crawford himself is the only man who can end his reign of terror over the sport.
I don't think we've seen anything like Terence Crawford in all my years of boxing. I know that for a fact. I do study history. I've never seen anybody that has everything.
I think the only person that can beat Crawford is himself at this point. Bradley told Fight Hype recently Madoff is the champion, and he must be respected, but as far as skill for skill Crawford all day, I think he'll do well against Canelo. I really do. Would I be nervous if they were to fight? Hell, yeah, because Canelo can punch, and all it will take is one big punch. But as long as he uses his legs, his athleticism, and his defense to get out of the way, then he should be able to beat Canelo interestingly. Bradley thinks Crawford can outbox Canelo just like Floyd Mayweather Jr. did 11 years ago, when he defeated the Mexican star when he was 22 years old fighting at a catchweight in 2013.
Good speed, power, timing, can switch the way he switches, to have the toughness, the meanness that he has, the way he finishes guys, the way he breaks down guys.
Crawford is about to turn 37, has never fought above 147, and would be coming up in weight without being tested at 168 by the top contenders. More fans would agree with Bradley if Crawford were interested in providing himself at 160 against the Killers, and at 168 to show that he can hang. The fans perceive Crawford is in a hurry to get a huge payday against Canelo and a golden parachute so that he can live in luxury in his retirement years.
Smartest guys that I've ever seen in the ring, right up there with Floyd Mayweather. So yeah, I would pick Terence Crawford to beat a Canelo Alvarez even at 160.
This is the problem. The fact that he fought against Charlo comes in at 154, said Tim Bradley to Fight Hype, reacting to Canelo Alvarez, saying he's not interested in fighting welterweight Terence Crawford because there's nothing to gain from fighting him. Al moved up a couple of weight divisions to fight Canelo. He got in there and laid an egg. He just basically went in there and survived. He just felt like, I'm not on Canelo's level. But the difference is the mentality of Crawford. He's a top pound for pound guy, said Bradley. Well, we don't know if Crawford will be any different from Jamal Charlo because he's not volunteering to test himself against some of the top super middleweights. To give fans a reference point,
You can call me crazy and whatever you want to say. I get it. Y'all didn't believe me when I told you about Spence, but trust me, Crawford will figure out a way.
if Crawford chose to prove himself against David Benavidez or David Morrell, you could feel confident that he just showed up for the payday against Canelo without trying to win. Since Crawford has no intention of fighting anyone at 168 before fighting Canelo, you can only conclude this is about money and nothing else. Charlo was never a top pound-for-pound guy. The skill set of Crawford is what he brings, said Bradley. He's a competitor man, and he's been after Canelo. He wants to fight Canelo, and I think he'll do well against Canelo. I really do.